Hi, good morning guys, thanks for joining me. Hope everybody's well, hope everyone's had a nice week. What I thought we'd do in today's video is just a little bit of cooking. I've had a few inquiries just regarding the kind of things that I like to cook when I'm out in camp, and also the kind of things which I do carry in the cook set itself. So today's video is going to be a real simple video. I'm just going to run through the items. I don't tend to carry too many. And what we're going to do is just make something very simple. We're just going to make an omelette. We're just going to have a few beans, a little bit of ham, an onion with that. And also what I thought we'd make is a nice cup of nettle tea. So what I've got in the dry bag here, I've got all the things which I like to carry. That's my pots, my pans, my frying pan, my bottle and my cup, that kind of thing. Also, I've just prepared the firewood, but also just looking at the firewood, what I may do with that is actually make a table out of it, something which you may be interested in seeing, because I've also got a few little stoves in the pack which I could use to cook the food with. So really, I'm just a little bit indecisive. Should I burn the wood? It is quite warm out here. I don't really need a fire. So what I think I may do, like I say, I may just cook on them little stoves and this firewood. I'm just going to make myself a little bit of a table and just keep all my stuff off the ground and just keep it clean basically. So when it comes to knocking these four corner posts in, ideally you want to find a little Y where the stick actually runs in that fashion, so you've actually got the straight part there which you can knock into, and then just the Y coming off. You know, beggars can't be choosers. This is all I've got at the moment. You know, if you end up with a Y like that, there's a good chance when you actually hit one of these sides that you'll split off, but like I say, beggars can't be choosers. This is all we've got. And the idea now is we're just going to put one in each corner, and then we're just going to lay the other sticks across. That's going to form the tabletop. Okay, so we just emptied all the items out of the dry bag and just put them on top of this makeshift table. And this table itself took around about 15 minutes. It's certainly not sturdy enough to have your Sunday lunch on, but for this, just to keep the food out of the ground, you know, it's going to be perfect for. So when it comes to my cooking, you know, I think with cooking it's personal to everyone. You know, the kind of foods that he says that you like to eat, and also the kind of weight he says that you prepare to carry. And probably 90% of the time with me, I do prefer MREs, you know, boiled rice and that kind of thing. You know, but from time to time, if I'm just coming out for a couple of days, you know, it's nice to have home cooked food, you know, proper food instead of just adding water to it. You know, so these are the kind of things, like I say, I do carry. Now this isn't the extensive list of all the stuff that I've got. You know, I do carry other pots and pans from time to time, but these ones here today are the ones which we're going to be using. So just starting off, just at the back end here, I've got a couple of little bags. These have just got my brew kit in. It's also got just one of the little spirit stoves in. And then also just on this side here, just all the little bits and pieces for cooking, scraping, cutting and all that kind of stuff. The pot which we're going to be using is a little billy pot, and this is a little zebra billy pot, absolutely awesome piece of kit. Just inside there, I've just got a little bit of tinder and just ignition source. Just a wood gas stove there, that's the other stove which we're going to be cooking on. And then the frying pan which we're going to be using is this one here. This is a Trangia frying pan, and this is a 22cm non-stick pan. You can pick these up for around about £15. The thing that drew me to it in the first place is the fact that the handle actually folds up and can be pushed inside, and that's just going to keep it out of the way when it is that you're carrying it in the pack. And then just in conjunction with that, I just use a little stainless steel plate which actually just stores away just inside the frying pan there. And these kind of things again you can pick up for around about £5. And the beauty about stainless steel is the fact that you can warm it up on a cold day. That's going to keep your food warmer, but also you can actually use the plate itself to cook with. And then on this side of the table we've got the cup, the water bottle and the fire ring. That always comes out with me regardless of if meeting or not. You've always got to have a cup of tea. And then just a little jar there with some nettles in it. I'm going to explain how I make my nettle tea and also how I like to harvest the nettles. Just a little beaker there with a couple of eggs in. We're going to have duck eggs, and it's going to be a duck egg omelette. I do prefer duck eggs than chicken eggs. And the beauty about carrying the eggs in one of these little beakers is it does help protect the eggs in transit, plus also you've got something that you can beat the eggs in. I'm going to have a can of baked beans, or I hope the baked beans, the labels actually come off the can. I hope that's not a can of soup, but time will tell. And then just in the little tray here, we've just got some olive oil, we've got some salt and pepper, we've got the obligatory HP sauce, just got an onion, a ham, and then just a small little knife just for dicing and cutting everything up with. So we're just going to get these stoves fired up. I'm going to make a nice cup of tea, and then like I say, we're just going to get a bed of coals going. I'm going to get one of these omelettes cooked. Just whilst this water's boiling just at the back of me here, I just thought I'd quickly just run through how I like to make my nettle tea. And these ones I harvested last week. Very easy to do, certainly this time of year whilst the nettles are still fresh and whilst they're still new. All I like to do is just go down, and then I like to pick off the tops, you know, probably around about 8 to 9 inches, something like that. And then I like to gather them up in little bundles. And then the first thing I like to do is just tie them up just to keep everything together, and then when you get in the house you can just swill everything off, just get rid of any kind of spiders or flies or caterpillars, that kind of thing that live in them. Then I tend to hang them up just to dry them off. That can take anywhere from around about 2 or 3 days, just dependent on the conditions. At the moment the weather's been absolutely lovely again, so you know, around about 2 days these are pretty much dry. And all you got to do is just grind them down. I've just used my hand and just powder them down. And then all you've got to do with that is just keep them in something like this to store them, either a little jar, a little can, anything like that. And then when it comes to making them into tea, you can put them in tea bags. You can get the little muslin tea bags, which I've got on order at the moment, and unfortunately never turned up. But you can also get one of the little infusion bowls, put them in that, and just put them in your cup, and away you go. So the health benefits of nettle tea, very high in iron, you know, so they do purify the blood. They also look after the kidneys, the urinary tract, that kind of thing. For us older guys, if you've got BHP or any kind of prostate problems, you know, they reckon that nettles, you know, helps to relieve any kind of problems like that as well. Like I say, you know, just a general good all-round herb to carry, whether you're going to be making it into tea, whether you're going to be cooking with it, that kind of thing. You know, over the years we've sprayed too much weed killer on nettles. You know, nowadays I tend to get the most benefit out of them that I can actually get. So if it is from time to time that I haven't got fresh nettles, one thing that I do carry are nettle tea bags. Now again, you can actually pick these up from anywhere, you know, Asda, Morrison's, all them kind of places. And the ones which you carry in the brew kit tend to be, I think they were nettle and spearmint, something like that. And again, you can do exactly the same kind of thing. You can put, you know, any kind of spearmint or peppermint in that if you want, because the taste of nettles, you know, is quite grassy. If you just want to get away from that a little bit and just make it just a little bit more pleasurable, you know, then mint is also, like I said, another good ingredient which you can add to it. So these tea bags which you've got, these are Twinings. You know, you can get, like I say, in Asda, Morrison, you can get nettle tea bags, or you can buy, you know, nettle and spearmint, that kind of thing. And these are the kind of things which you carry, you know, certainly during the autumn time and the winter time when all the nettles have gone, or perhaps they're just too old to make tea out of. It always means then, you know, that I've got some nettle tea that I can drink. Okay, just whilst we're waiting for them flames just to die down a little bit, I'm just going to start warming the beans up. And for that we're just going to use the little spirit burner, and these are awesome pieces of kit. Lightweight, easy to use, very reliable. So with that we're just going to put the fire ring around it. Like I say, and hopefully these are a can of beans. And yes they are. So with the pan being a non-stick pan, we don't need much oil in this. We're just going to put in just so that we can fry the onions off. And just warm that up, which won't take too long. Now for anyone that's interested in frying pans, like I was saying, this one here was just a cheap Trangia version. There's some good ones out there, some steel skillets which aren't too heavy, but they do look like the traditional kind of skillets. And I will leave the link in the description box about those. I was watching one of Wade's videos from Woodwalker 1965, and he's done an awesome review about one. So you know, if that's the kind of thing that you're interested in, I will leave the link in the description box. So just get these fried up. When it comes to omelets, everyone's got their own favourite recipes and their own favourite things which they like to do. For me, I just like to add a little bit of salt. Some people like to add milk. And instead of using the onions, if I wanted to, you could have used something like wild garlic. But you know, for what I brought down today with me, I do like these onions. And I'll just tip them onions out just into this little tray a second. Those are nice and soft now. And there's enough oil in the pan, so we don't need to add any more, so we're just going to tip the eggs straight in. Then after a few minutes, once everything's nearly cooked, I've just added the onions, and now we're just going to add just some of the ham. The ham's already cooked anyway, so just a case of just adding it, just add a bit more texture and a bit more flavour. And after around about 5 minutes in total, the omelet's now cooked. I'll just put some beans with that. Hopefully these are still nice and warm. Oh yeah. Put some of those on the side. Now we have an healthy, nice, nutritional meal. Omelette and beans. We're just going to put a bit of HP sauce on that just to give it the added sparkle. And there we have the food of the gods. Nothing spectacular, just omelette and beans, but a nice healthy meal. If it was, I was going to be cooking on the open fire there. I wouldn't have had to bring all the stoves and that kind of stuff. Just a couple of eggs, a little bit of ham and a can of beans, and you got yourself a nice hearty meal. So after that meal, I've now got the good job to do. I've got to tidy away and clean all this stuff up. At the end of the day, this looks like my kitchen. I'm not the neatest cook in the world, so if any of you want to give me a hand, you're more than welcome. Well, that didn't take me very long, and what I'm going to do now is just sit here and just enjoy the sun for the rest of the day. I'll get myself a little bit of timber just to carve a couple of spoons out, and I think this time next week I'll be at the bushcraft show, so hopefully I'll find a couple of prizes. Those are going to be for the next giveaway. That just brings me on just to say hi to everyone that's just subscribed, and also just thank everyone for supporting the channel. So until next time guys, you all take care, look after yourselves, and I'll see you again.